We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash that like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends, and do not forget to ring the notification bell if you want to support this truly independent national college football's your rebel outpost. With a donation, help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I will get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody. I hope you all having a great day. Welcome on in here. Welcome into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. It is a beautiful day to talk college football. We are covering a lot of stories today in this live show. The big one, well, they're all big. They're all big. All of them are big. But the big new one is their movement. Is their movement towards the Big Ten and the SEC's interest in the Protect the College Sports Act? And if there is it going to be enough? Before we get on to this, I think we need to review what is at stake in the Protect the College Sports Act. Because among the elbows being thrown among the conferences, the commissioners, Cody Campbell, Smash Capital, Democrat, Republican, what's at stake is the following. The one thing that all these conferences can agree on in all these schools, they are looking for protection. They are looking to be able to make some rules and to enforce those rules. They're looking for federal help and on themselves being able to govern college sports, period. So they can make a 5-year eligibility ruling and they can enforce it. So they can make transfer portal rules and enforce it. They want antitrust exemption. At least some of antitrust protection. That is at stake. If it doesn't happen, and I'll just use the SEC for an example, because they are the example to use. If the Southeastern Conference does not get that protection from Congress, they very, very, very well might bolt and say, we'll give our own protection because we will not have market power like the NCAA. As valuable, influential, impactful, as much money as the Southeastern Conference has, it does not have the market power like the NCAA. The NCAA is an umbrella over all these universities, hundreds of universities. And if you want to just narrow it down to football, it's a lot of football. It's a lot of programs. That's why the courts do not give the NCAA the credibility that they need to make the rules, enforce the rules. Because the rules affect the student athlete. And the student athlete should have at least some options, decisions. Not a one-size-fits-all. That's what's at stake. That's why this is so important. Because if we do not get antitrust protection, it is going to be a new era in college sports. And it's going to be even more drastic, more radical than the changes that you and I have already lived through here in the last 4 years. Now, Ross Dellinger did say, by the way, we do have an LSU revenue model update that we're going to be giving you all. It's a small update, but it is an update. An update from Ross Dellinger from the College Football Inquirer that came out today. But the previous College Football Inquirer show, Ross Dellinger did say that he believed, the Big Ten and the SEC believed, that some of the changes that they needed to happen in this bill, Ross Dellinger said, I think they're going to get it. That's what Ross Dellinger had heard. They think they're going to get it. But maybe not all of them. And maybe not enough changes. And if you get those changes, formally into the bill. None of these changes that the Big Ten and the SEC have wanted has been formally changed in the bill as of tonight on July 14th. We'll get back to that later. It does seem, from an outsider perspective, that, and I think Rick, one of our legendary callers here at Peek Around the Corner, alluded to this. I think the Protect College Sports Act is kind of sort of morphing into the SCORE Act that was being worked on in the House. If the Big Ten and the SEC get their Section 205 changes, and if they get a few other changes, it's going to look a lot like the SCORE Act. Not entirely, because the SCORE Act said in their bill that the student athletes would never, ever, ever, never, ever, never, ever be allowed to become employees of the athletic departments or the schools. They're not going to be able to get that. They're not going to be able to put that in this Protect the College Sports Act. But besides that, it looks like it's going to look similar. A lot of provisions that Cody Campbell wanted in this bill, a lot of what Cody Campbell needed in this bill, a lot of what Cody Campbell paid to get in this bill is, I believe, hanging by a thread. But again, as of tonight, that I know of, that has been reported, there has been no formal changes in the bill. But according to Ross Dillinger's reporting today, and we'll get to it, there may be some movement towards some of the Big Ten and SEC's interests, making sure that they have sovereignty over their media rights, making sure they have sovereignty over the scheduling, making sure they have sovereignty over their memberships. If, and it's a big if, it's a huge if, definitely not the chalk, definitely not the chalk tonight. But if the formal changes are made to the bill that the SEC and the Big Ten want, enough of them to where the Big Ten and the SEC vocalize their official support for the bill, and then if it passes, and then it gets signed by Donald Trump, what does all that mean? It means no breakaway. It means no silo. But it does mean future expansion, but more on the timetable of what the Big Ten and the SEC wants. More realignment. But also, I do think, and it's a big if this thing passes, big if Donald Trump signs it, big if, with Big Ten and SEC support for the bill, I do think within all of that, there's still going to be major reform in how players are compensated. And I think the SEC is going to look different than the Big Ten. The Big Ten, of course, is going to look different than the SEC. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to be looking differently than the ACC. The ACC is going to be looking differently than the Big 12. I think there are going to be some things decided within the conferences that might have a little bit of a conference flavor to it. However, if this bill passes with the Big Ten and SEC support, and all of that is monster ifs, not the chalk, no way, not the chalk, not tonight. You're still gonna have you're gonna have the NCAA. You're gonna have everybody funneling their issues through committees and councils of the NCAA. And NCAA, there's going to be votes among the conferences and schools. The subjects that fall under the autonomy, the Power 4 schools, that's going to keep happening. And so forth and so on. And the courts will not be able to shred it. But all that is a big if tonight. Big, big, big ifs. All right, we've got other things to talk about. We've got the Spotlight series. It continues. And tonight, no pun intended. No pun, or maybe pun intended. Maybe it is pun intended. How do you like them apples? Western Michigan Broncos are a threat. Laugh at me now. Runs with scissors. The notorious Sun Devil. Watch your language, BYU football. Watch your language. Grateful Trojan. Jose. Bob Swanger. Manic Reactions. You can all laugh at me now. You can all laugh at me now. But you won't be laughing at me by the end of the season. The Western Michigan Broncos are a clear threat to be the G6 representative into the college football playoffs. There are some new jersey patch deals that have happened over the last 24 to 48 hours. We are going to be spending a little bit of time covering those news items. We're going to be talking about what Ross Dellinger said today in the College Football Inquirer podcast. He made it clear he does not know everything about the new LSU revenue creation model that they're going to be introducing, that the LSU president is going to be introducing in the governor's mansion on August 3rd and August 5th. Ross Dellinger is working on it, but he doesn't know everything. But he does know something of what this entails. So we're going to talk about that on today's show. So we've got a lot to go through. Buckle up, brace for impact. Let's do the roll call here. Let's do the roll call. Bruce Harris is in the house. Edward, the Auburn Tiger, is here. Skaven, yes, yes. Skaven, yes, yes. I just saw the brilliant Big Ten Ted. Great YouTube channel, college football YouTube channel. Big Ten Ted rated his top 10 quarterbacks in the Big Ten this year. Number 9 was Bryce Underwood. Number 10 was Nebraska's Anthony Colandrea. And Drake Lindsay was nowhere to be found. I love Big Ten Ted. I love him. He's great. He's a really smart dude. Does an incredible job. But the receipts are stacking up, baby. Drake Lindsay Golden Gophers. Charlie Atwood is in the house. Ryan Brooks is here. David Kreitzer is here. Woody Bortner is here. Maprof. We are live. We are live. D5 Terps. The Almighty Goal Knows. Oh, and we got the ACC Media Day starting tomorrow. July 15th, July 15th, July 16th, July 17th, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We are going to be covering it all here at Peek Around the Corner. I do believe Florida State is tomorrow. I think Florida State kicks it off. I think Mike Norvell kicks off the coaches for the ACC. I might be wrong on that. But I do think Florida State is, I think they're tomorrow. And I think Miami is as well. The other Gygax is in the house. I watched Crew's Corner episode, and he was not happy. Crew's Corner, Justin Waka, was not happy. The treatment, the disrespect that West Virginia is getting among the Big 12 media voters, among everybody. He believes that West Virginia is going to be better than they were last year, and people are not predicting them to be better than they were last year. He's very upset about it. Go check out Kuz's Corner, another fantastic college football YouTube channel. There's a lot out there, a lot of great information, a lot of great entertainment. Absolutely fantastic. Farmer Boys is in the house. Appreciate you coming on in, Mr. Buckeye Caleb Ramirez. The architect. The architect is in the house. We got Edward the Auburn Tiger. Push that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Edward. Doc Boots is here. RT, go Pokes. Go Pokes. Stephen Vitt, how are we doing today, guys? Uh-oh, Greg, you can taste the cheeseburger yet? No, I cannot. Maniac Reactions, Taylor on the Tube is in the house. The Golden Bear is here. Buckeye Greg, appreciate it coming on in. Nick the Virginia Tech Hokie. I'm quite a ways into my recovery. All right, that's beautiful, Nick. That's beautiful. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. OBD Dunn is in the house. Frank Potter is here. Cranky Tiger is here. Amy is in the house. Don Scruggs, I like West Virginia. C. Montgomery, go Washington Huskies. The Evil Badger is here. Expansion Crush. Expansion Crush is here. Mr. Indiana Hoosier, the original PATC family member. We've got Helmer Hennessy kicking us off. $2 holler. Thank you so much, Helmer Hennessy. UA preferred over Arizona State for the Big Ten. I have no idea. I do not hear anything about Arizona and Arizona State on the Big Ten candidate list. If you're talking about yesterday's live show, we went through an article that Ross Dellinger wrote for Yahoo Sports. For those who did not see it, shame on you for not watching a live show yesterday. Just kidding. Just kidding. Ross Dellinger wrote an article, I think it was October of 2023, talked about Kevin Warren's expansion list. Arizona was on the list. Arizona State was not. Today, I have no idea. I do not hear much about either school, to be honest with you. Again, we might just not have that door open to us. Maybe there is a preference. Maybe Arizona and Arizona State are much higher on that list. It sounds like Brett McMurphy has them on the Big Ten candidate list. Remember when Brett McMurphy talked a few months ago about the Big Ten candidate list? He said every AAU school in the ACC and the Big 12 is on that list. He said how big the list was, that the Big Ten was having a wide, large tent in trying to figure out, if they have when and if they have to expand. So he had Arizona and Arizona State on his candidate list. I do not have Arizona State on the first tier, second tier, or third tier of the Big Ten. But that doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that I don't have them there. I could be absolutely wrong. Don't think so, but we just don't hear much about it. And of course, we've got an Arizona State money perch. We've got an association with an Arizona State money perch who was as accurate, if not even more accurate, during the Pac-12, the negotiations with Apple and the Big 12, and an incredible fountain of information in real time. We were giving you his reports. It was incredible to watch. He definitely had the ear, or he definitely knew what was going on in the presidential office at Arizona State. He hasn't told us of any Big Ten steam, any elevated talks. And he would tell us. I believe he would tell us. I'll go check it out. But yeah, again, I haven't heard anything from either Arizona and Arizona State. Thank you, Hammer Hennison. I very much appreciate it, sir. Thank you for the $2 holler. Who else we got in? We've got the Christopher Hooter, the purple and gold $2 holler. So, PCSA and score likely ultimately reconcilable. I don't think so. The Score Act is dead. This is the PCSA morphing into more of the Score Act. But it's only the PCSA that's alive. The Score Act never got to a vote. It never was brought up. It was never scheduled for a vote in the House. So it doesn't even exist anymore. It just it's dead. So it's the PCSA or nothing. And as we go through that story tonight, Ross Dillinger's report, we've all got to remember one thing. We have not seen any formal changes to the bill. So there might be some movement, there might be some changes. And if there is a formal change to the bill, then there's going to be a reaction to it. Right? You might gain a bunch of votes over here, but you might lose a bunch of votes over there. So, it's movement towards the Big Ten and SEC's interest, but yet no formal changes. And this thing passing, not to chalk. Thank you, Christopher Hooter. I appreciate your $2 holler. Thank you very much. Rod Nix. Florida State hits the stage at noon. Miami is up first at 11. Thank you, Rod Nix. I figured I would not get that correct. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Florida State and Miami. Now, we're going to cover it tomorrow. We are going to cover what was reported. My expectations is I have no expectations. It would be nice if somebody at Florida State would say, yeah, the Protect College Sports Act, we do not support it as it's written, or something to that effect. Or somebody out of Miami, somebody saying something. Give us some news, ACC. Yeah, that'd be nice if we got some news on that. Thank you, Rod Nix. Thank you for the updated information. Very much appreciated. We got Darrell CRH is in the house. Amy's here. Al Bundy. Adam Rogue is here. If this passes, it's going to all turn into Smash Sports. Well, it depends on what version of the bill passes. If the version of the bill that passes takes sovereignty away from the major conferences, then Smash Sports becomes more powerful, potentially. But if the version passes that rips out Section 205, then that's a big loss for Smash Sports and for Cody Campbell. The Big Ten and the SEC are never going to get exactly what they want. No, they're going to have to give up a few items. One of those items, and this is my speculation, I could be wrong. I think one of those items is the SEC and the Big Ten are probably going to have to give up on having it written in there. No way, no how, never, 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 never. The student athletes are going to become employees. Because that was put into the SCORE Act. I don't think that has any chance to get into the Protect the College Sports Act. So the Big Ten and the SEC are not going to be able to get that in the bill. I'm again, this is my speculation from what I've heard, from what I read, but only speculation. Another thing that the Big Ten and the SEC, I don't think they're going to get is to completely strip away the ability of the student athlete to go ahead and sue them. They take them to court on these rules and all that stuff. I think for this to get passed, for this to get enough votes on both sides of the aisle, for this to keep enough traction on the Democratic Party side of the aisle, they're going to have to keep some sort of empowerment where the student athlete can still go to court and have some credibility in that. But the Big Ten and the SEC are going to need to get back to strip out of the bill their sovereignty and scheduling, media rights, membership, and a few other items. In and around NIL, there are big issues on NIL that have to get squared away. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming on in. I appreciate it. 135 people in the house. I appreciate it on this beautiful Tuesday, July 14th. Probably a hot one. Thank you, Hammer Henderson, Christopher Hooter. I very much appreciate it. Let's start it off. Let's get this show going. We got a spotlight here. Yes, we do. We've got a spotlight. How about you? Western Michigan Broncos. 76th team that we have done the spotlight so far this season. Western Michigan Broncos. I have declared, Greg the Gold has declared Western Michigan in its official dark horse to be the G6 representative into the playoffs. Why do you ask? Why do you ask? Let's start with the quarterback, Brock Lowry. Let's just call him the MAC Conference Diego Pavia. The Bronco Diego Pavia. 1,800 yards passing last year. 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 63.1 completion percentage. 130.2 quarterback rating. 963 yards rushing. 963. 963. 4.7 average. Again, that is incredibly impressive for a quarterback because the sack yards go against these stats. 14 rushing touchdowns. Brock Lowry is in the red zone. He's dynamic. He is the MAC Diego Pavia. Western Michigan won the MAC Conference last year. And he has come back. He has come back to Western Michigan. But that's not all. That is not all. That's not all that they're getting back. When you have a running back in the MAC who runs for over 1,000 yards in a season, do you know what happens to him if he's not a senior? He goes in the portal and he gets picked up by a Big Ten team, potentially, now a Pac-12 team, an American team, but mostly a Big Ten team. What if I told you Western Michigan has a running back coming back after a 1,000-yard season? Let me do one better for you. This man has had 2 different seasons running over 1,000 yards for Western Michigan. Jalen Buckley. Last year, over 1,000 yards, 1,003 yards rushing, 5.6 average, 9 rushing touchdowns. You've got a running back over 1,000 yards. You've got a quarterback, 963 yards. They're both back next year for Western Michigan. Oh, wait a second. I forgot. Tackle, Chad Schuster. First team All-MAC. Highest rated Pro Football Focus offensive lineman in the MAC. Did he go in the portal? No. He's going to play another year for head coach Lance Taylor in Western Michigan. Now you might be asking, great. Even, look, the other Gygax. We're sorry, Western Michigan, that Greg picked you to be in the CFP. I haven't picked them yet. I have not picked them yet. I don't have them there yet. But again, we're doing the spotlight. I'm putting the spotlight on them because I'm guessing 99.99% of the college football YouTube channels are not going to be talking about Western Michigan. But we are because of Brock Lowry, Jalen Buckley, Chad Schuster. So you're probably thinking, all right, Greg, they got this massive running attack coming back. They're going to plow over G6 teams. But they're still not going to be diversified enough. They're still not going to be able to be the G6 representative. They're not going to be a James Madison of last year. They're not going to be Boise State of 2 years ago. Well, you know what? They are going to be a running team. They're going to run it down your throat. But their wide receivers that did not get a whole bunch of targets last year, because they did run the ball down everybody's throats. They're coming back. Their wide receivers. Their wide receivers are coming back. Balin Brooks, 27 receptions, 372 yards receiving, 13.8 average. Avian Chenault, 23 catches, 277 yards receiving. They've got a tight end. Yeah, they don't have big numbers because they run that ball, but they're all their guys are coming back. They won the MAC conference last. They're all coming back. On defense, their whole secondary is coming back, led by Joshua Franklin. Their defense is their secondary is absolutely stacked with production from last year. They're all back. Now, what is not back for Western Michigan is their defensive line. They went on the portal, and that is something that the Michigan Wolverines are going to attack game one. The defensive line may not be ready. But almost all the other units for Western Michigan are ready to go. They got a very interesting transfer. Linebacker in the portal, Brennan Ains from Tennessee Volunteers, who came from Tennessee, he was a true freshman last year. He did not get on the field. He's supposed to get on the field this year. He said, nope, I want to play, and he's going to play for Western Michigan. Look at the schedule. Again, they're on the road at the Big House. I think they're 26 point underdog. If Western Michigan can lose by 14, 17 points, go at home on September 26th and beat Boise State at home, they've only got possibly two other trip-up games. On the road to Toledo, at home, Miami of Ohio on November 24th. Western Michigan is going to be favored in every single one of their games, as it looks right now, except for at Michigan and possibly at home against Boise. But we'll find out, right? Western Michigan, if they beat Boise, and then Boise goes and has a really good season in the Pac-12, wins the Pac-12, Western Michigan should have that edge over Boise State. They do not play Ohio Bobcats. They do play Miami, the Red Hawks. They do play Toledo. But other than that, there is a lot of wins on that schedule. Western Michigan, I have them at number 2 on the board. Number 1 is UNLV with Jackson Arnold, with Jaden Thomas, the great running back. Number 2 is Western Michigan. Number 3 is East Carolina. Number 4, number 5, James Madison, Boise State, South Florida. It doesn't matter after that. Number 1 is UNLV. Number 2 is Western Michigan. Number 3 is East Carolina. That's how I have it right now for the G6 representative. That's how much I like Western Michigan. You let me know how wrong I got it once again. But this Western Michigan, the coach is coming, they're bringing the band back together again for one more run. They're going to be so much more ready than these other G6 schools when they start conference play. Michigan, you better be ready. You better be ready. That's all I'm saying. I know you're a 25-point favorite. I get it. I've been a little bit too hard on Bryce Underwood. I get it. You've got great running game. You've got great running back. You've Marshall. You've got him. No question about it. I completely understand. But if Bryce Underwood is not ready on September 5th, if Michigan only wins that game by 10, 13 points, this is not your regular MAC school that you're playing. They're going to be ready. They're going to be ready on September 5th. Buckle up and brace for impact. All right, so that is our spotlight. That is our spotlight on the Western Michigan Broncos. We got the other Gygax. $5 holla. We're sorry, Western Michigan. That Greg pick. I'm sorry that Greg picked you to be in the college football playoffs. We did not do that. However, Bronco fans, don't listen to the other Gygax. Listen to Greg the Gold. This season for the Broncos is going to be all about your heart. You got the players. You got the system. You know the system. You're ready to go. It's going to be all about heart, Western Michigan. All right. OPD done. Well, that's 3 unders I will play now. You might be onto something, OP. You might be onto something. There's going to be a lot of running in that Michigan-Western Michigan game. Run that football. All right, let's get on to the other stuff that we're going to talk about today. We've got a stack show. Thank you. Another spotlight. And tomorrow we are going to be doing the spotlight on who? Who is under the spotlight tomorrow? Is going to be the Ohio Bobcats, Stephen Vitt's team. Oh boy, here we go. Stephen is in the house. He's getting nervous about the spotlight. My question for Western Michigan, will their defense be as strong as they were last year? The secondary is going to be there, but the defensive line, it is a massive question mark for Western Michigan. They're going to hope for the best. That is their big weakness coming into this season. Brock Lowy is a beast, and he's probably going to be a bigger beast this year. Darrell, let me know. Darrell says Jim Williams was on the local morning radio show today, and he said he thought Utah and Arizona State from the West to the Big Ten. Let me know what local morning radio show that was. I'll go check it out. Again, I have not heard anything about Arizona State. Have heard a lot about Utah. Speaking of Utah and their private equity deal, their Crimson Ventures deal, what Michigan State has got going on, according to Ross Dellinger, hold on, everybody. Hold on. This wire is... according to Ross Dellinger, he doesn't know. I think he said there may be 6 people who actually know what's going to be presented on August 3rd and August 5th to the top 40 donors of LSU. So he said, I do not know what this whole thing is about, what they're going to present in the governor's mansion. But he does know one aspect to what they're going to say here. Ross Dellinger said he first heard about this, what LSU is going to try to do. He first heard about this in March. So that's a couple of months ago. This is what he does know. And again, this information was put out on the College Football Inquirer show podcast. I heard it right before I came on live here, doing prep work for the show. The donors, it's going to sound familiar, very familiar to what Utah's doing. The donors are going to be able to have a pathway. That's how Ross Dellinger put it. LSU donors are going to have a pathway in ownership of a minority part of the athletic department, the privatized part of the athletic department, one in which they're going to be a for-profit entity within the athletic department. It is like what Utah is doing, where the donors are going to have a minority interest ownership of the Crimson Ventures, and the university has majority interest, and they have a private equity firm that has come in and is given a lot of money, and they have a certain percentage of the ownership. Ross Dellinger doesn't know if private equity is involved in this. He doesn't have any other information. He's working on it, he says. But it does involve the donors having a pathway to grabbing shares ownership of the for-profit entity part of the athletic department. Now, they did make jokes afterwards, Ross Dellinger and Andy Staples and the other guy, about how 5 years from now, there's going to be shows on investigations on all these athletic departments across the country when it comes to taxes. Because some of what's going on in these athletic departments are not going to be the same tax liability as other parts of the athletic department. But anyways, so very interesting. Now, Ross Dellinger did say, I do not know everything about it. He says there has to be a different type of twist to it to separate it from what Utah is doing. It sounds like what Utah is doing, but maybe, there's something else to it. Ross Dellinger, they talked about Ross Dellinger's wife is from Louisiana, LSU journalist. Ross Dellinger has a lot of connections, and he says, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed that this whole thing hasn't leaked out yet. So he believes there must be a very tight circle around the information that the LSU president is going to inform the donors on August 3rd and August 5th. So that is the update on that story. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate it. KSL Sports Zone, DJ PK. Appreciate it. All right. Let's get to a couple more stories before we get to the big one, Protect the College Sports Act update of today. We've got more Jersey news. California, The Golden Bears, Dialpad announced landmark jersey patch sponsorship in a landmark moment for California athletics. Dialpad, an AI platform for customer experience, has been selected as the inaugural jersey patch sponsor across all 30 of the Golden Bears sports programs. So they're all 30 of them. California Golden Bears did not carve out one for football, one for basketball. It is for all 30 of them. Dialpad has also been named the official AI platform for fan experience of California athletics in what is the largest corporate sponsorship partnership in Golden Bears history. The partnership ties two forces at the leading edge of AI into the same team at the epicenter of AI innovation. UC Berkeley is the forefront of AI, the ground zero where the startups, the professors, the students defining the field come together, making it a natural home for Dialpad. This is a historic moment for Cal Athletics. Cal co-directors of athletics Jenny Simon O'Neill and Jay Larson said our partnership with Dialpad will have a profound impact on the student athletes, department, and university as we move forward in this dynamic era of intercollegiate athletics. Craig is a true Golden Bear, and we are thrilled to work side by side with him. And Dialpad is in this new venture. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Cal Athletics. The Golden Bear. The Golden Bear in the chat room. What do you think about this deal, Golden Bear? Do you like that Dialpad is part of it? Let me know. Let me know what you think. We've got another jersey patch deal that came in yesterday. And that is of course, the BYU Cougars, Mitch Harper. Utah-based company, Entrada. Is that how you say it? Entrada will be the first jersey patch partner for BYU football. BYU Athletic Director Brian Santiago. We are grateful for this new sponsorship with Entrada and excited to welcome them to BYU Athletics family. Entrada brings great value to BYU Athletics. We are excited about this new relationship and anticipate a bright future. I don't know much about that company as well, but there it is. There is no information. I don't know. I have not seen any information on how long the deal is and for how much money. Cal Bears, Dialpad is an easy-based startup. CEO founder is a Cal alum. Lots of these opportunities. Which one is that? Which alum is that? Who is the CEO founder? Is it Jay Larson? Jay Larson, or is it Jenny Simon O'Neill? Well, we're gonna be getting hit with a lot of these jersey patch deals, right? We're gonna get hit with a lot of them. We're gonna report as many or all of them as we're gonna talk about it. A lot of these deals, when they come public, they're not giving us the money, how long, and all that. Cal Bears CEO is Craig Walker. CEO is Craig Walker. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Now let's get to the big story. Protect the College Sports Act update. Protect College Sports Act update. The Big Ten and the SEC, they keep saying they believe there's some movement, there's some optimism. Ross Dellinger keeps sort of reporting the same thing. The Big Ten and the SEC think they're going to get some changes in the bill. There's people in Washington that don't think that this can pass without the Big Ten SEC support in the House. Even the Florida State Money Perch told us in the last live show that we had him with an update, he told us everybody's relaxing more because everybody's gotten the word that we don't think this bill is going to pass unless they strip out 205. It's not going to suddenly pass. We're probably not going to have that emergency meeting, even if it gets to a vote to the Senate. This seems to be the chatter behind the curtain. Things are moving in that direction. But again, we have not seen any formal changes. Ross Dellinger earlier today reported 4 Big Ten university presidents, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and USC, visited today with Senator Maria Cantwell and Ted Cruz as part of the dialogue around the Protect College Sports Act per a statement from the schools. The meetings, described as productive, are notable. Again, Ross Dellinger, in his way, is telling us there is movement. There's at least movement toward the Big Ten and the SEC, what they want changed in the bill. Now let's take a look at what the statement from Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and USC, what they actually said in this statement. It is pretty interesting. I'm sorry, you can't read the top. I'll read the top here. The presidents of Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, and USC had very productive meetings today with legislative partners as we work toward a national legislative solution that serves student athletes, provides regulatory certainty, and maintains America's long tradition of exceptional collegiate athletics. This message here, this is coming from Big Ten schools, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, and USC. This is not coming from Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell. From the perspective of these big 4 Big Ten universities, they are saying they had very productive meetings today with Cruz and Cantwell, with legislative partners. We appreciate the effort behind the Protect College Sports Act and support the bill's intent. At the same time, key issues should be addressed to ensure the bill protects student athletes and provides long-term stability for colleges, universities, and conferences. We support the priorities previously outlined by the Big Ten Conference. In other words, these 4 schools support what the Big Ten in total have said what the priorities are, including an NIL and revenue sharing framework that is workable, enforceable, and fair to student athletes, and liability protection and preemption of state law that is sufficiently clear and brings an end to the nonstop litigation and fragmentation that is eroding the educational mission of college sports and making fair competition impossible. In addition, and this is the PATC money shot of these 4 Big Ten universities statement. In addition, college and universities are differently situated and have always retained flexibility over conference membership, sponsored sports, scholarships, scheduling, and media rights. Preserving this flexibility will enhance universities' ability to offer broad-based sports programs, support Olympic sports, and safeguard the student-athlete experience. So the Buckeyes, the Wolverines, the Lions, and the Trojans are making it clear this bill has to preserve, retain flexibility over conference membership, sponsored sports, scholarships, scheduling, and media rights. And to finish it off, the letter says, we look forward to continuing conversations with the bill sponsors and other legislative partners as we pursue our shared goal of a strong, sustainable national legislative solution for all sports, conferences, and divisions. So that is the letter. That is the letter. Now there is more reporting here. From Ross Dellinger. So again, Ross Dellinger reported that the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, USC all visited Cantwell and Cruz. The meeting was described as productive. We just read the letter. There is movement from lawmakers. There is movement from lawmakers to make some of the revisions to the bill that SEC and the Big Ten leadership requested. Sources tell Yahoo Sports. And Ross Dellinger said that last week as well. However, it is unclear if these possible changes, not yet formalized in legislation, will be enough to garner support from the 2 leagues. So all this is good. They're meeting. Michigan, USC, Ohio State, Penn State. They're saying that it was a very productive meeting. Sources are telling Yahoo Sports there are movement from lawmakers to make some of the revisions to the bill, but none of it has become formal. Now, let me finish this off, and I'm going to give you, I've asked some questions right before I came on, and I got one little answer back that I want to read. Well, I'm not going to read it to you verbatim. Let's finish this off. Ross Dellinger also reported lawmakers have intentions of bringing the bill to the Senate floor for a full vote before their month-long break that begins in early August. However, opposition from several groups, most notably the Big Ten and SEC, has cast some doubt on its passage through Congress. My main question was, I asked the same question to a few people that I knew I could send the question off to and hopefully get an answer quickly. My question was, that description from Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and USC saying this was a very productive meeting. So I asked, I sent out a question and I said, could that be an indication that they know these formal changes are going to take place and it's going to be pretty quick from now? And that they've already seen the language? That's why they think it's a productive meeting? That this is going somewhere? That those items that they outlined are being taken care of right now? There is actual change. It just hasn't been publicized. It hasn't been official yet, but they see the changes, the language in the bill. And the answer I got was surprising. From a chatter behind the curtain, it was probably so. But again, that person doesn't know. I don't know. But, probably so. In other words, it does seem like that there is changes, formal changes already to the bill, and they're working on it. And that could possibly reset the support either way. This bill is going more and more and more away from what Cody Campbell wanted, but it could be getting closer to it actually passing. Not the chalk. Not the chalk. Not at all. And if this doesn't pass, we all can sit here and be optimistic. If this doesn't pass, there are going to be people, Congress people, congressional people, possibly a few people writing articles. We'll come back to this next year. New Senate, new House, after the elections. I don't know if the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten can wait that long. I don't know if they can wait that long. I don't think anybody can wait long for, these court cases, they keep coming down. They can't even enforce a 5-for-5 eligibility ruling. So, we are coming at it here. It's white knuckle time. Is this bill going to see formal changes? That's my question to you. Are the formal changes going to be enough for the SEC and the Big Ten to support the bill vocally out there in public? And would that be enough to get the votes passed in the House and the Senate and to get the president to vote to sign it? Those are a lot of big ifs, and all of them have to happen. All of them have to line up. All of them has to materialize from now until the end of August or the beginning of August. The beginning of August. Do you think it's possible? Let me know in the comments section with your phone calls, super chats. We are going to open up the lines. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. We've got, since no one is calling, I'm going to take the phone off the hook. We got more information. This is Penn State President Benapudi. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name. My apologies. Benapudi penned a letter to Senator John Fetterman last month expressing concerns about the Protect College Sports Act. Let me see if I can populate this up a little bit better. See if there's anything interesting in here. There was no substantive changes to Title II, which is Section 205, which singles out the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference and imposes in perpetuity restrictions that would not apply to any other conference or entity not yet in existence. That has to do with conference expansion. All right, now we're going to open up the phone lines here. 763-260-1333. Talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. Greg, are you concerned about the fires? Yes, I am. A large part of the boundary waters, the roads are closed. If you don't know what the boundary waters are, that is just an unbelievable, beautiful, the border between Minnesota and Canada. A whole bunch of different lakes and woods and
All from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger, the floor is yours.
Thanks for press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Evil Badger, the floor is yours. Thanks for your call, sir. I appreciate it.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. So, are you getting interested with having to eat a cheeseburger with 2 types of cheese?
If I eat a double cheeseburger with 2 different cheeses, because the bill passed, and it does give the ability for us schools and conferences to have antitrust protection and exemption from the violations. If it provides that, there may be a chance that I can eat the double cheeseburger and survive. If I have to eat the double cheeseburger and it passes, and it doesn't, and it does that, but it strips out the sovereignty of the SEC and the Big Ten and other things, then I'm probably not going to survive. Either way, it's going to be a struggle. But there are 2 different versions to this, right, Ryan? There is the one that is, doesn't strip away conferences' sovereignties. That one, that version, if that passes, I think I can survive the eating of the cheeseburger. But if it's the Cody Campbell version, I'm not going to be able to survive the eating of the cheeseburger.
I think you should add bacon to
that. No, I'm not going to do that because I don't want any more of the burger than it's going to be cheese, 2 different cheeses, 2 burgers, and a bun. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
Don't add any more stuff to it because it's going to be hard enough to get it down.
Okay. When I sent that super chat yesterday, okay, so 7-5 is the floor for the Badgers. 7-2 is the ceiling.
Got it. 7-5 is the floor. 10-2 is the ceiling. What if I told you that 7-5 is the ceiling, and 3-9 is the floor?
I think you're off your rocker.
Okay. All right. You know, it's the same Luke. It's the same Luke Fickle. You've got an Old Dominion quarterback, Colton Joseph, that, you know, we don't know.
But now that the Badgers athletic department is caught up into the 21st century, not the 20th century, I believe that things are going to be changing in Madison.
All right. 10-2 is the ceiling.
10-2 is the ceiling. 7-5 is the floor. All right. Well, that's all I had.
If Wisconsin goes 10-2, there's a shot they go to the playoffs, Ryan.
Right.
Okay.
And you may have a meltdown if they do.
I will have a meltdown. There's no question. There'll be a little bit of a denial period. There'll be anger, and then there'll be tears. There'll just be tears coming down the face.
Because I believe that Minnesota has a tougher schedule than Wisconsin does.
Yeah, I think so.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. So, PJ Fleck might be getting on hot seat later on this year.
All right.
That's all I got for you today.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Beautiful call.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Bye.
call. Thank you, Ryan. Wisconsin going 10-2 is as hopeful as Nebraska going 10-2. Anthony Colandrea, Colton Joseph. Who is going to have the better year between those two quarterbacks? I have made an executive decision here at Peek Around the Corner.
From
Edward the Auburn Tiger.
Edward the Auburn Tiger. Can you hold on for just one moment?
I sure can, sir.
I think PATC leading Heisman candidate as of July 14th. Now this could change when we do our official Heisman watch, first Heisman watch list sometime in August before the season starts. But right now, July 14th, it is not Jeremiah Smith. It is not Julian Sand. It is not Dante Mohr. It is not Darren Mensah. It is not Malachi Tony. It's not Arch Manning. It is Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback of Ole Miss. That is PATC number one on the Heisman watch list. Number one on July 14th. And probably will be number one on the first watch list come August. Go ahead, Edward. The floor is yours.
Greg, we have got Greg the Gold on July the 14th. Man,
Yes.
What a call that is. I was exactly thinking Trinidad when you were talking. He is an amazing player, very humble. His passes are beautiful. He makes great decisions. He plays within the offense. He's just a great character of the game. I think everybody from whether you're Big Ten, whether you're SEC, Big 12, it doesn't matter. Everyone enjoys watching this guy play.
And you got K'Wan Lacey back there, who's going to make that defense honest, just like last year. I know Lane Kiffin's not there anymore, so people are saying, well, the offense is going away, and I don't believe in that. I think it's there. I think it's installed. I think Chambliss knows the offense. The offense knows it. I think Lacey is going to be, after that season that Lacey had, Edward, I think the defenses have to respect him at all times. And I think it's going to give even more room for Chambliss to cook, baby, to cook. Go ahead, Edward.
That's right, Greg. And he single-handedly willed that team to go deep into the playoffs. So I think that's a great pick. This is Greg the Gold on the phone, ladies and gentlemen, and may you be up to a great start. And listen, I appreciate the job you're doing, Greg. I mean, man, yesterday, that show with the culmination today, I mean, you're really, you're saying a lot of things without saying it, I believe, just by the dots that you're putting out, the peak around the corner that you're putting out. And it's painting a great picture. You mentioned yesterday from the money perch that it almost seemed like Florida State money perches are talking with Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. Like you said, it's an accelerated conversation that these schools are having. And then you're looking at the bill. You're reading the temperature in the room with the SEC. And so you got all these things happening. It still leads me to the same conclusion, Greg, that the toothpaste is out of the tube and it's not going back in. And then how you laid out just the symmetry between the Oregon and Washington and where we are now. I really got a lot from that episode yesterday.
Yeah.
And you really painted that picture very nicely. Just kind of where we are, because there's a lot of opportunities. Yes, everyone might not be wanting this, but the timing is right. Where we are is right. SEC does not trust this bill. To me, it doesn't matter if it gets some changes in there. It doesn't mean it can't be unchanged in the future. I just think the SEC, and you mentioned a statement it's like the SEC is already checking off the boxes, which tells me kind of gives me this imagery that, the toothpaste is out the tube, and you got all these schools talking, and then you got reporters leaking these things you're talking about, which is an indication that something's just around the corner. They got to be talking to the networks. They got to be communicating. They got to be just like Fox did with Big Ten concerning Oregon and Washington. They're communicating about their value. They're communicating about what money is going to be available. You got to know the SEC is doing the same thing with ESPN. And I believe even the new entity, I believe it's going to be Netflix. Netflix is in a desperate situation. A lot of people are canceling out Netflix. The numbers are dropping. So they're in a place where they have to do something. And I do want to say this, Greg. Mr. Williams put it out, which I was totally unaware, and I believe a lot of people are unaware of this. ESPN, the NFL owes 10% of ESPN, and their window for negotiations with NFL between ESPN is not until 2031. Everyone else is 2029. So the ESPN can go ahead and make a deal with the SEC and regroup by the time their media deal with NFL comes down the road. So they're not in the same boat as the Fox, NBC, CBS, Amazon. They're in their own boat, which is further down the road. So I believe the timing is everything, but I do want to say outstanding job, Greg, because like I said, you're saying a lot of things. You're putting a lot of things out there. And if you just kind of look at it, just kind of follow the dots, and then that's what put me over the edge yesterday is when you talked about Oregon and Washington. Big Ten was not even wanting to add more teams, and they did.
But they still prepared for it a year ago. So
yeah, that's what really got me is that you have that dissension in the ranks. You have Penn State not wanting it. And here they are not wanting to expand, and they expanded. And I don't think that you shared that story for no reason at all. I believe that's right where we are. And you can just kind of feel amongst all the entities, whether you're Big 12, Big 10, ACC, everyone's reading the tea leaves. And I still think this goes down. I don't think it's going to be a quick strike. But I believe that something will happen between now and June the 1st of 2027, and this will go into effect in 2028. But I really just wanted to call and tell you thank you for all that you do, because we would not have this information if it was not for you, sir. I look forward to this show coming on every day. Normally you come on around 4 o'clock Central Time, so I'm waiting at my phone kind of ready for it.
all right,
Appreciate you, love you, have a blessed day, sir.
You too, sir. You have a blessed day. I appreciate the kind words, sir. Thank you, Edward. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We've got Super Chat from the Pirate Gator, Mr. Kenneth Maynor. $10 holla. Kenneth Maynor, the SEC will have to eventually have unequal revenue tiers based on legacy brand. Bama, LSU, Florida, Texas, Georgia will make more than Mississippi State, Kentucky, Missouri, and then new members will make the lowest. Hold on one second. Hold on. I apologize, Kenneth Maynor. I agree with you. I agree with you, although I think it's going to come in a different manner. Hold on. Okay, I apologize for that, Mr. Maynor, and everybody else. Hold on. I agree. I want to spend a little time on this. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mr. Maynor. I appreciate all your support you've given us. Incredible generosity in your thought-provoking comments. Really is a treat for us. Thank you, sir. I agree, and there's probably a bunch of SEC fans in the chat room going, no, that's not going to happen. That would never happen. No, that would never happen. Gator, a lot of people are saying that, or probably thinking it. But I think it's going to come, and it may not be Mississippi State gets $10 million less per year in the new media contract than a Georgia. It may not be that at all. It may be something to the effect of, if the conference does what these schools are beginning to do, what the Big Ten tried to do, the Big Ten tried to create this Big Ten Enterprises, a for-profit entity within the conference. And then the schools would have different shares of this ownership of this enterprise. And those shares could change, percentages could change over time, depending on the value brand of that school, if it changes over time. And I think that is what's going to happen with the Big Ten, and I think eventually with the Southeastern Conference. So when you do this for-profit entity, when you try to modernize the conference, be it with private equity or not, I think the unequal revenue, let's say, and again, this might be a bad example, but I'm just going to use the example because it's easy. And this will probably never happen, this part of it. But let's say they have some sort of for-profit entity, and this SEC company, which is part of the conference, somehow, some way, have a certain sponsorship deal with the European market. And schools are going to be paid on base of merchandise sales. The schools are going to be paid unequally because they're all part of the deal, but there's going to be a lot more LSU t-shirts probably bought than Vanderbilt, for example. So I think there's going to be unequal revenue tiers. And I don't know how of course, I don't know how exactly it's going to work. The ACC has their way of doing it for now. And maybe the Southeastern Conference does something like that. But I think we're going to get into the world of unequal revenue sharing within the conference payouts. But it might not be as direct as you get a little bit less, you get a little bit more in the media contract. It might have to do with some other stuff. Now, LSU, Florida, Texas, they already make a lot more than the bottom 3, 4, 5 schools in the SEC without the unequal revenue sharing. But I think they're going to figure out a way to give more benefits to the top teams because they're giving more benefits to the overall conference. So I agree, Kenneth Mean. I don't know if it's going to be laid out, as neatly as the differences are in the media contract. All right. Thank you for the $10 holler, Kenneth Maynard. Very much appreciated, sir. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. We do have some non-college football breaking news. As of 1 hour ago, breaking news, non-college football breaking news. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been told, they have not been told that they are out of the LeBron James race. They're not out of it. The Timberwolves are still pursuing LeBron James as of 1 hour ago from Darren Wolfson, KSTP. Timberwolves are not out of it yet. The dream is alive. The dream is alive. The floor is open. The floor is open. Pony up. No, this is a free agency. We don't have to pony up any second round picks. Minnesota doesn't have any first round picks. LeBron, either LeBron comes for the vet minimum or he doesn't come. We're not giving away picks. Look, why would he? I can understand LeBron James going home to Cleveland for the third time. I get that. I don't understand if he's going to do that, why he has waited this long. That's the confusion to me. I really don't think LeBron James wants to play with James Harden. What about Golden State Warriors? I guess.
From?
Yes, Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, the floor is yours. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Greg. I'll touch on the LeBron James thing. At least y'all got hope. It's going to come down to maybe Minnesota or maybe Golden State.
What about Philadelphia?
I think so. I don't know. I look at LeBron is going to go where he have a best chance to win a championship before he retire. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, where he have a better chance of winning a championship before he retire. You know, and I think, I look at Minnesota, you said something about what Minnesota have on that squad.
Yeah.
And I somewhat agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And also I look at Golden State. Golden State is they got a mix of young and old out there at Golden State. But Minnesota got a lot of firepower over there.
Yeah.
So Minnesota got a good chance. They got a good chance now. I don't know what they asking for in money.
No,
But if
it's
he ain't
not a money
asking
thing.
much of money, huh?
It's not a money thing. It's he wants to go somewhere where he can try to get one more world championship, where he can have fun.
Yeah, right. So I think Minnesota is looking good.
I
think Minnesota really looking good.
I think they got a shot, because if they didn't,
Yeah.
I think they would have been told, nah. The problem with Minnesota is LeBron James at age 41, going to be 42, is going to, if he plays with Minnesota, he loves Anthony Edwards. He does love Lamar Ball, but he's going to be playing with guys that are not his peers, right? If he goes to Golden State, he's going to be playing with his best friends. If he goes to Cleveland, he's going to be going home. If he goes to Miami, he's comfortable there. He can play golf every day. The other options are more comfortable. And when you get older, Mohr Simmons, as you know, you like to go where you're comfortable. You don't want to, I think that's probably what's going to take Minnesota out. But I think why Minnesota's in at this point still is because it's the perfect spot for him to be on a team. You've got Jaden McDaniels, who's going to guard the best offensive wing player on the other team. You've got Anthony Edwards, who's going to be the number one optional scorer, who is becoming a superstar. And now you finally got a point guard in Minnesota who can actually dribble and pass the ball, so Anthony Edwards doesn't have to do it anymore. And then you've got Rudy Gobert. You've got a young kid named Juan Berenjay, another Frenchman who's been playing outstanding. You've got great defensive players around LeBron James. He doesn't have to worry about the defense so much. And he doesn't have to dribble the ball. Right. He just has to be a 41-year-old power forward. But go ahead, sir.
Now, you brought up, you did bring up Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. Did Miami Heat go out and get, what's his name, from Milwaukee? I think he's from Milwaukee, the big guy.
The big Giannis? Giannis. Yeah, he's with Miami.
Oh, well, that changes. That may change some things, because you get LeBron and him on the court at the same time. Ooh, that's a problem.
And I think Miami's heavily. I think I would not be surprised if he goes to Miami.
Yeah. And besides, he done been to Miami. He know what Miami offers, you know, and everything. And he was comfortable when he was there, when he was there last time. And, you know, we got them championships down there, you know. But, yeah. Now, back to college football, somebody raised the question pertaining to the, I guess the buyout, well, not the buyout, but the payout for the SEC. Now, one thing I would say, unequal, yes, there's going to be some unequal, because that's where everything is going. But for us, if Florida State was to come into the SEC, for us being at the low oh no, that ain't gonna happen. We not gonna be at the low whatever conference we in. That's not gonna happen. Now, will we be outside of where the top tier of the conference is? We might be at the top tier, and like you said, there may be somewhere written in there that they may do a reevaluation, every so many years or whatever to make a change, because not everybody going to be that's at the top tier where they're at right now. Down the road, where they still be at that level, some people have drop-offs. Just like right now, Florida State. I mean, football-wise, yeah, we're struggling, but the brand is still strong. So if you're still selling, you still got eyeballs, and your ratings are still high, well, you're not going nowhere. That's kind of crazy for you to have high ratings going into a conference and you're going to be at the bottom. No, that ain't going to happen. That is not going to happen. I mean, you can just look at Florida State in our worst year, 2-10, and our ratings was high. It wasn't high like it normally is, but it was still leading the way of the ACC. Mm-hmm. And that was a 2-10 season. And that was unheard of in our neck of the woods, which is another reason why we got a coach in the hot seat right now.
Yeah.
We can't have back-to-back. I won't say back-to-back. We just cannot go down that road again. He got to go. And since I'm on the call right now, I would say this: whatever conference we go into, I don't think Mike Norvell is coming with us. We gonna give him a bus ticket, and he got to go. We gonna find us a coach. Once we get into the Power 2, we will have the money. The big money donors will come in, and we gonna go get us a coach and turn this around. Because the biggest nightmare, everybody know Florida State is a sleeping giant. Once we get back on the war path, everybody know. Mm-hmm. Everybody know Florida State. All right. Have a nice day.
How are you too, Morris? Beautiful call. Thank you, sir. Morris Simmons. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Great call. Whoops. What happened there?
From
Professor Wild Ute.
The Professor Wild Ute is on the line. Can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Of course.
OBD done. So that means you're running for mayor again, Greg. Are you talking about LeBron James not getting on the Minnesota Timberwolves team? Look, Opie, I don't have to run for mayor. I mean, I don't have to campaign. I don't have to run. I do not have to campaign or run to be mayor of Louisville City, to be reelected mayor of Louisville City. It's going to happen. I'm going to get the votes. I don't have to kiss babies. I don't have to stuff the ballot boxes. I don't have to put placards out there. I don't have to put stickers on bumper. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to make speeches. I don't show up for the debates. Long history of production. That's what I got. A big, long resume of everything loses when I am the mayor of Louisville City. I don't have to I don't have to get off this chair for me to be the re-elected mayor of Louisville City. Just to clear that up. Go ahead, Professor. He's going to bounce something off me. Give it to me, Wild You. Give it to me. Thanks for calling, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, when you were speaking about the LSU deal, and we've got, Dellinger mentioned that it's going to look somewhat like the Utah deal, probably with different boosters throwing pools of money into like a new company and creating some type of like maybe a private equity or some type of new company to run the athletics and like own the athletic department properties, right? Like that's exactly where kind of I originally thought it was going to. But like let's just assume that's the case, that LSU boosters are going to pony up a lot of money to have partial ownership in the intellectual properties of LSU athletics, kind of like the boosters of Utah have done in conjunction with Otro Capital. Okay. Here's the question for you that nobody's talking about, but this one has crossed my mind once or twice, and I have to bounce this off you. Okay, so what that really means, though, Greg, is that in Utah's case, for a couple of these big boosters, in LSU's case, your boosters are they're already turning into investors, and they're not boosters anymore; they're investors.
Yeah. Yes.
Expectation that in the future you're going to get a return based on ticket sales or whatever, right, as part of the intellectual properties.
Yes.
But you are no longer just a booster. It's no longer a donation, but it's actually an investment. Are we on the same page with that?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so here's the big question. If Utah's done that and LSU's leaning towards that, then at what point does every school around the nation, the big booster pools, at what point do they say, why am I donating money and not getting any return out of this when my neighbor school is getting an investment return and they have a complicated investment structure? If I want to donate like $50 million, $20 million, $100 million to the school, why would I make it just a donation now and not an investment?
I agree. Yes, great point. And I thought of that too. As long as the word on the street is that Utah investor, that LSU investor is making at least, if not a little bit of money, at least breaking even, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're an investor and you're doing this and you're losing money, which donors, it's an automatic loss, right? You're not getting any of it back. But if you're losing money and if there's no improvement, whatever, maybe it would take the shine off it a little bit. But I agree, man. Before we circle back to that, I just want to clear. Ross Dellinger, he said the part that he knew,
right?
But he did say, I don't know what this, I don't know what's going to set this apart from the Utah and the Michigan State deal, because he did say people have told him this is going to be different, but he doesn't know what that difference is. So there could
maybe
be
you
a
just
big
leave private equity partner out and just use your boosters to own all the assets.
Maybe, I don't know.
But I'm just thinking like how the NIL game is now.
Yeah.
It's basically you're depending on your billionaires and like in your big rich dollar boosters and stuff to fund your program to win. But I'll tell you what, people that are really uber rich, they hate paying stuff in when they can get something in return for it.
Yes.
They're going to see that structure happening. Cody Campbell either is going to see that and say, hey, at what point do I own a huge chunk of I really own it as an asset and not in just like a donator, right? And have no ownership at all. And at what point do I want to own Texas Tech Athletics?
It's a great point. It's an absolutely fantastic point. And then if that happens, right? If that ripple effect, if it happens where all the other boosters, more and more boosters are like, why am I just a donor? Why can't I be an investor? Then it's going to be fascinating to see, is there going to be a 50-50 split? Is there going to be an 80-20 split on who uses private equity, who brings in that third-party money, that expertise, that network, that connections? Or is it going to be 80-20, 80 in that no third-party money is going to come in? How is that split going to happen?
No idea how that split's going to happen. I guess I'm really interested to see the ramifications from the big donors today, because I'd be really upset if I were donating tens of millions and I'm not getting any ownership or any return or any potential return in the future. That's going to be a game changer for me to continue donating. And so in some ways, might this be a defensive type of move? Because you're already you're changing the game, the paradigm from just donations and giving to actually investing.
Now, we do have a tax question, though, right? Right? I mean, once you become an investor, is there taxes that play into this at all? Like, if you're donating, you know, is there going to be is there going to be a tax problem in 5 years, like what they said in the College Football Inquirer show?
Not for the donors or like the new investors, but for the schools. Yeah, I think so. Because like the new investors, it's just like investing into like the S&P 500, like or like a stock, and so you can take, without getting too complicated, you can take money out of your investment to pay your taxes if it makes money, and I would imagine most of these would make money. But from the school's perspective, where they're not paying taxes and they're nonprofits, you bet your bottom dollar, Greg. Yeah, that's going to be, because you're, like you even mentioned before in the live show, like you're making it a private organization and a for-profit essentially, and right now it's operating as a nonprofit, and so there will be tax impacts to that. Can you manage that by like making sure you're not reporting much profit? And yes, that's what nonprofit organizations do. That's what other companies do, like publicly traded companies. You don't report a bunch of profit because you spend it all, so you don't have to pay as much taxes. There's games, but it's a new thing. They're going to be paying taxes, and they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just need to share that. That's just on the mind.
Have you brought that up on your show? I haven't heard you bring that up.
Never brought it up when you were speaking about it, and when we were having like that chat the other day about like, you know, the implications for this. It just came to mind. So might record a short video on it too.
Got it. Yeah. All right, I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you, sir. National NBA reporter Jake Fisher says Chris Finch, meanwhile, that's the head coach of the Timberwolves, told Jake Fisher and me directly during the Bleacher Report live stream Friday from the concourse of the famed Thomas and Mack Center that Minnesota also believes it's still in the running. Still in the running for LeBron James. I do want to thank Kenneth Meaner, the other Gygax, Christopher Hooter, and Helmer Hennison for your donations. I do very much appreciate it. Thank you to the four of you. Thank you very much. Helping us keep the lights on and all that stuff. Look, guys, some of you guys come into this chat room, and you come in like you're in really a bad mood. BYU haven't even lost a football game yet. Some of you come in here and just say, you know what? 99.99% of what I talk about here is college football. Once in a while, I go off course. Just once in a while, it is natural conversation, and you guys have a heart attack over it. My goodness. Okay. I do want to appreciate the four people who donated this program, the people who called in. Thank you very much. I think we'll lock it up. We've been on the air for 2 hours. The phone lines are not all that busy. So we'll lock it up. I do appreciate it. Still 133 people in here. We talked about a lot. The spotlight on the Western Michigan Broncos. Western Michigan Broncos, I believe they are a dark horse to be the G6 rep in the college football playoffs. Brock Lowry, very effective quarterback for the Broncos last year. That big game against Boise State, 4th or 5th week into the season. So we talked about the Western Michigan. We talked about the BYU and California jersey patches. We talked about how Ross Dellinger gave a little bit of information on the LSU revenue model and the Protect the College Sports Act update movement towards the Big Ten and the SEC interest. But is it going to be too little, too late? Are there going to be actual formal changes in the bill? We'll find out together. Again, Wednesday, July 15th is the start of the ACC Media Days. We're going to cover it all here at Peek Around the Corner. So before you leave, make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, share the video with your family and friends. Make sure you ring that notification bell. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family,